In this video clip, we're taking a look at the fifth step of the Eightfold Path. We looked at, first of all, step one, which has to do with this skillful understanding, cognitive understanding of cause and effect, or karma, and the Four Noble Truths. And then we moved on to skillful thinking, which involves the idea of, well, just the opposite of greed, hatred, and delusion, which is renunciation and loving kindness and compassion for ourselves and others. Then we switched gears a little bit and went into the moral aspect of the Buddhist teachings, and we looked at the third step, which is skillful speech, to refrain from lying and deceiving others through our speech, and speaking kindly, and just basically being very, very mindful of these words that we use on a daily basis, and how important silence can be as well. And then we looked at step 4 last week, actually, and we looked at skillful action, and we came to the realization that skillful action can be easily divided down to 5 areas, which are called the 5 precepts, the 5 moral precepts. And these precepts speak of refraining from stealing and lying and killing, and also sexual misconduct and the refraining from intoxicants. And then we moved from step 4, now we're going into step 5. And all of these videos on these steps are available so if you want to review any of them. So we're doing each step once a week. And actually this is a kind of a preparation for the class that we have later on this morning. And so we're looking at skillful livelihood. This is our work. We could say that we spend a third of our time working, and which means this is a very important area. A lot of times in spirituality, in different ways of looking at our spiritual progress and our meditation practices and things like that, we don't consider our work. It's like our work is completely separate. And then we have this other time that we call sleep, another third of our lives, and then this other area that I'll be calling family. Family is just a kind of a label that I'm using for our free time, our time when we're not working. You know, we use that time for our hobbies. We use that time to, basically to spend any way we want to, hopefully, and often with our family. So skillful livelihood is very important, and just like any of the other steps, there's ways to memorize them or to actually remember them. You know, we don't want to say that these things have to be memorized, but to be understood, we should be able to just close our eyes and go through all of these different steps, just like I did when I reviewed, you know, the step 1, 2, 3, and 4. We should understand. We should know kind of what the triggers are that allow us to remember these steps. And with skillful livelihood, it's set up so that there's 3 questions that we can ask about our work or about somebody else's work. Or let's say we're looking for a job. They should fit these 3 criteria. Or we are working, they should fit these 3 criteria, which are brought about in the form of a question. And I'm so fortunate that I can look at these and see that this is the area that I should be in. This is my calling in life, you know, to be doing what I'm doing. The very first question is my job inherently wrong occupation? Wrong, in this context, is the opposite of skillful. We're working with the Eightfold Path. These are skillful means, skillful understanding, skillful thinking, skillful speech, skillful action, and now skillful livelihood. The opposite of skillful is wrong. Wrong speech, wrong action, wrong understanding. And so our occupations can be skillful or they can be wrong. What's the opposite of wrong occupation? Is a skillful occupation where a person feels as if their occupation is their life, is they're in the flow with their occupation. Their occupation is so important that they feel like they're drawn to it and that it's their purpose in life. And then the distinction between work and family is the same, and it's everything is in conjunction and very much a part of life itself. And then we can live a much richer life. The second question is, does my job break any of the 5 moral precepts? And these are the precepts that we talked about last week. Does my job cause anyone to get harmed or myself to get harmed, particularly in the area of killing or stealing or lying to somebody? Are we doing the occupation where we have to lie to somebody for them to buy something so that we can have money, you know? Are we selling intoxicants? Are we, you know, in an occupation where we're selling alcohol or cigarettes or something like that to people? And where do we draw that line? I just came from Colorado a couple days ago, and there are marijuana dispensaries there. Now that used to be illegal, so it used to be a wrong occupation, but now it's looked at completely different. It might not be necessarily a skillful occupation for everyone, but it could be. Let's say that we're working in a dispensary where we feel that they're misleading people a lot into buying this, telling them that it's not as strong as it really is or something. I'm just creating a scenario here. And we walk into this situation and we feel like as if we can lend some truthfulness to the transaction, and that we feel like we have a real part in what is happening there. We want to be truthful, we want to help people, and we want to maybe sell this marijuana from this dispensary from a municipal purpose. I mean, a true municipal purpose as a painkiller, or to decrease swelling or something like this. So we can look at our jobs in many, many different ways. Now, the third area is, are any aspects of my job aspects that disturb my mind from concentration and that impede my spiritual progress, my spiritual growth? If we have a job that, first of all, disturbs us, let's say there's lots of situations that come up where even if we wanted to meditate and close our eyes and concentrate, that we wouldn't be able to do it because of these situations from our job come rushing in. Now, it's often said that we need something to work with when it comes to meditation. You know, like not all meditations are going to be peaceful and harmonious, and there will be things that come up or things that are seen, you know, within our meditation. But if we have a job that constantly causes problems in our meditation, we should really consider that, because our meditation is a mirror image of what is happening in our life out there, our family time, we could say, right? And if our job disturbs us in any way from that meditation, we should really take a look at that and see why. I think one of the main things in our job or in somebody else's job is that it isn't necessarily a division from our non-work. We have work, non-work, and sleep, you know, as these 3 areas of our lives. But when we can say that our work is really a part of our lives where we are just using that word work as a label for what we do and what we're involved in and what we kind of see and do in a skillful way. Our job should be skillful. We should feel as if we're being very skillful in what we do when we go to our jobs and when we do our jobs. We should feel as if we can do it in such a way that we can make it a part of our spiritual practice. And whatever it might be, I don't know how many different work aspects and jobs there are out there, thousands and thousands. But it seems if we are mindful that we should be able to do whatever job there is, the idea of becoming mindful and using a practice such as meditation, it allows us to do things that typically we would have problems doing. It allows us to be much calmer and look at things in a different light, go about things differently. So in reality, we should be able to have a job that maybe we didn't like at one point if our spiritual practice and our meditation allows us to see this in a different way where it's much more accepted. This is actually very, very common practice that we become accepting of situations that had not been in the past. So whatever occupation you do, it's okay as long as it doesn't break the 5 moral precepts, doesn't harm other people and doesn't harm us, and that it's skillful work. And I really wish that this is true for everyone. If there is problems, with your occupation that don't allow you to feel comfortable with it, you should take a look at it and maybe move on. Maybe move on to a different kind of job, but that isn't the only way to fix the problem. Many times, your calling, your duty is to be in that job and just do it in a certain way where it does fall into these criteria. Is my job inherently the wrong occupation? Can you change that into a skillful occupation? Does my job break any of the 5 moral precepts? Is there any way to stop your job from breaking these precepts, or hopefully, possibly stopping your co-workers from breaking the 5 moral precepts? And are any of the aspects of my job, do they disturb my mind from concentration? And somehow can we see that and use that in our meditation, in our practice? So these are the 3 criteria, the 3 questions that we can ask. And hopefully if we can live life where there is no division between work and non-work, that would be the wonderful way to do it, and to work and to live life, right? So I hope this helps. Again, if you want to review any of the steps that we did in the past, they should be on the left side of the page, the YouTube page. And then look for the following steps. Next week, in the 3 following videos, we're going to be looking at skillful effort, concentration, and mindfulness. Not necessarily in that order. Effort, mindfulness, and concentration. Those are the last 3 steps we'll be taking a look at. So if you ever have any questions, please contact me. The email is down below. Thank you very much.